Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. I don't know if you knew this, but anyone can get the same premium wireless for $15 a month plan that I've been enjoying. It's not just for celebrities. So do like I did and have one of your assistants switch you to Mint Mobile today. I'm told it's super easy to do at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
Does it ever feel like you're a marketing professional just speaking into the void? Well, with LinkedIn ads, you can know you're reaching the right decision makers. You can even target buyers by job title, industry, company, seniority, skills. Wait, did I say job title yet? Get started today and see how you can avoid the void and reach the right buyers with LinkedIn ads. We'll even give you a $100 credit on your next campaign. Get started at linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply.
Hello and welcome to this. It is the EggChasers Rugby Podcast, the podcast about rugby that doesn't take itself or the game too seriously. I'm JB, here in the Rugby Dungeon with Phil. Hello, Phil.
Hello, JB.
But not with Tim. Tim is not here.
No.
Did you understand what Tim was saying?
I did understand it. He's in the Netherlands.
Yeah, so let's just fill the listeners in. Earlier on this week, Tim just said, I'm going to the Netherlands. I've got a service. You pay $5,000. You put anything you want in this bag, and I'll transport it cross borders. No questions asked. And I declined, but obviously he's got some takers for that. So
undoubtedly a few, knowing the circles that Tim hangs around
exactly.
in.
So $5,000 there, $5,000 back. If you've got anything you want Tim to transport cross borders for $5,000, just contact us at contacteggchasers@gmail.com.
Perfect.
Yeah.
What a service.
Yeah, quite incredible. So anyway, if you do want even more of Tim, you can find him on YouTube. You can find me on LinkedIn. You can find me on Beardmore & Co, independent financial advisors, and Phil might lurk in your DMs if you're lucky.
If you need, if I want you to know and you need to know, you will know.
Yes, quite.
But this is an unusual time for a podcast.
It is.
Not from those people picking this up probably on Monday morning. But for us, we're doing this on Saturday night.
Yeah.
It is now 8:30 on Saturday.
Just on that, what would we have been doing 10 years ago, and what does this say about us?
10 years ago, both pre-kids.
Substantially happier.
Happier, richer, looking a lot younger than we do now. We would have been out.
Yeah, we would have been out.
Unquestionably. We both would have played rugby, and we would have been, well, I would have been 10 years ago, if things were similar, on a bus back from Blackheath, where Sedgley Park have just beaten Blackheath.
Have they?
Yeah.
Win. Very good win.
Very good win. Very good win.
I'm just going to signpost where this is going, okay? We're going to be talking a little bit about the rugby news this week. Tim's not here, so it's going to be a bit shorter. We're going to do a bit about the Freshfields report.
Are we going to... So, this is a question to you. I would pose this to our listeners, but by the time they listen to this, it's too late. So I think we've got probably 30 minutes of musings about rugby this week, news, that kind of stuff. And then we've probably got 30 minutes of content on the Freshfields report, because I've now read it back to front, cover to cover, and have some thoughts on that.
I'm looking forward to this.
Do we do the Freshfields stuff? Do we do it on a Patreon pod?
Can you talk for 5 minutes about it, and then we'll expand it on the Patreon pod?
I certainly can.
Do a multipolarity, start talking about it, and then just cut it off.
Well, I think we do it on a Patreon pod, because I think, so having been through the report, I think it is worth £3 to anyone. If you're already signed up, thank you to all
and you've
of our
already paid
amazing...
at least, if you're an RFU member, you paid more than £3 already for the Freshfields report. You just don't realise it.
Many more.
Many more. So you may as well pay the extra £3 to understand what your money is paid for.
But the report is interesting because it obviously explains the some of the detail and thinking that the RFU went through and the multiple layers of consultants that were involved in the LTIP. We're now on, by my count, 3 separate consultants in Freshfields, one set of lawyers to review the process. There was another set of lawyers to draft the LTIP,
Of course.
when they concluded the process, of which Pearl Mayer, if you've ever heard of them.
No, I have not.
Neither had I. Most people wouldn't, because they are expert consultants into executive remuneration.
God, they sound cheap.
They do. They do. All three of those sound cheap.
Yeah,
right?
they do, don't they? The little two-man band.
And they gave advice to the RFU board, and obviously the RFU exec about putting the LTIP in place. Which some of that advice is quite remarkable, actually, that we'll go into. But there's also bits of it that come out where Mr. Sweeney, Dollar Bill, a friend of the pod, has been, let's just say, disingenuous.
Hang on, not the same Bill Sweeney.
not
that Bill Sweeney.
Not that Bill
That's
Sweeney.
not the Bill that I know.
About the information. Yeah, right, so remember on the Good, the Bad and the Rugby pod.
I do remember.
With Big Bill, where he said, no. Firing Eddie Jones did not cost millions. It simply did not cost millions. It was only a mere £900,000.
Pocket money.
£900,000
for a man like Bill.
Which you can, as I said at the time when we went through that episode, you can see that in the RFU's reports and accounts for that financial year, 22-23 financial year, that there was 900k of restructuring costs that was getting rid of Eddie Jones and a few other of his staff. But there was another figure that Bill failed to give us, but Leicester Tigers reports and accounts give us,
Indeed
which
is
a cool £1 million in additional payments from the RFU within that same financial year.
By the way, Leicester Tigers are about to shell out more money on yet more coaching, which is interesting. So we've already told you about that. So that's just a little bit of a teaser of the sorts of stuff that we're going to talk about later.
Yeah, so I think we do that. I think we do it as a Patreon pod. I think it will be worth £3 of anyone's money to get all of the detail.
All your
on
money
that.
back, in fact. Or find out where your money's gone.
Yes, find out. And particularly because this week, last couple of days, the other Bill, Big Bill Beaumont, released a statement urging council members, I think it is just council members who can vote, but any members who can vote, to vote with the RFU and prevent the vote of no confidence from happening.
Well, I hope he gets a round rejection on that.
Same. And the Patreon pod will probably give you a bit more ammunition to if you're sitting on the fence as to why perhaps the current CEO of the RFU is not the best man to take us forward. But yeah, we'll do that.
Okay.
On Patreon.
Superb.
You just hinted at something on Leicester Tigers.
Yes, but first I'm going to talk about some real rugby. Some
Oh,
rugby
okay.
that actually happened. So I've not looked at all of the tables yet, but I can tell you what happened in the ADMs this week, starring Tok H.
Yes, please.
Top of the table, Tok H. Our future in our own hands went to New Brighton.
Tough old place. So you went to New Brighton.
We went to New Brighton. Right, so New Brighton have come to us. I'm being candid. I didn't think much of them when they came. Just didn't. You know, they were tough. They stuck at it. Yeah, I mean, there's not really much more to say about them. When I showed up today, they were absolutely enormous. I was like, I don't remember any of these boys. Like, where have these guys come from? And they gave us one hell of a fight. Hell of a fight.
Tough old club.
It is
Brighton.
a tough club. And I like going there as well because it's got a real character to it. I absolutely love it. Like, the stand has not been changed for a long time. It's still there. Like, the squash courts are from, I don't know, 1970s or something. But the whole thing is really, it's kind of like a retro cool. I do actually really like it. They used to have a scoreboard there, which had a clock which filmed in the time with like pieces of, I'm sure, maybe my mind is playing tricks on me, but like pieces of Trivial Pursuit pie. So you didn't know what the actual time was. It'd just be a slice of pie, a slice of pie, a slice of pie. Absolutely pointless.
So you can just see how many slices of pie have left.
Yeah, exactly. And I've got a theory about New Brighton.
That's cool.
I've got a theory that back in the day, they must have had a sponsor who worked in conservatories. Because they seem to have conservatories in quite a few places, including like the sort of tunnel is a conservatory. I'm like, there's no way you would voluntarily build a conservatory unless you got it for free. So my theory is he must at some point had a conservatory sponsor.
Well, conservatories were kind of in vogue at some point during the 80s or 90s.
Yeah.
But not for a long time.
Yeah, well, they were massive and they were tough.
Yes.
And we just couldn't beat them. We did beat them, but they wouldn't die. So we would score, and then we got 3 points. So we're 10 points up, and then they'd score 7. And we'd score again, and we're comfortable, and then they'd score again. They got 3 more tries against us, and I'm frankly disgusted at our forwards. Disgusted.
You've spent a lot of time on your Maul defence.
Not recently.
Certainly. Was that last summer?
It was a few summers ago we looked at Maul defence.
Okay.
But, we were pretty shoddy in Maul. Well, we weren't shoddy. They were good. They were good.
Yeah.
At every physical contest that they had us in, they gave us a right hiding. So, we did outscore them 51 points to 30-something in the end. But it was not easy.
How did your competitors, Tarleton and West Park, get on?
Tarleton absolutely smoked Liverpool and St Helens.
Okay.
And Aspel, the lads from Aspel, obviously didn't have the first team out. They got within touching distance of West Park, and then apparently last 10 minutes West Park pulled away, scored some tries. So it's all to play for. So the last 3 weeks, and then Glossop lost 60-0 to Wilmslow. So we've got Tarleton, Wilmslow, West Park. So that's 2nd, 3rd and 4th.
Do you reckon any of the boys from Aspel, because Aspel is like farming land near Wigan, do you reckon any of them are in Las Vegas this weekend?
Why would they be doing Las Vegas?
Have you not seen?
No.
Have you not seen?
Is it the Wood Fest or something?
No. The gay. So, did you not see the headline about Sam Burgess's visa to the US?
Yes.
So he this week had problems getting a visa to go and work in the US because of his misdemeanors in the past, shall we say?
Yeah.
But he did get it. So he can, as head coach of Warrington Wolves, take them out to Las Vegas to play against Wigan Warriors. That is happening. It kicks off in an hour's time.
Oh, wow. So when you said farm boys, it has nothing to do with farming.
It's nothing to do with farming.
It's just the fact that they like rugby league.
They're rugby league fans.
Quite possibly. Oh, that's cool. That's really cool.
Very, very. We might even get to watch a bit of it after we finish patroning.
Yeah. Excellent.
So good win, but it's still all in your hands to the end of the season. And how many games left?
It's simultaneously in our hands and also West Park's hands.
Because if they beat you,
yeah, and there's every chance that they can because we're a damn good side.
Very good side.
We will see.
And how many games left?
3.
Wow.
So 1 next week, Tarleton.
Yeah,
that's the big one.
That's hard.
That's a really that to me is the biggest game of the season.
Is that home or away for you?
They're a great side. Home.
Okay, but you're still playing at Bernage? Bernage?
No, we will play at MMU.
MMU, okay.
And then 2 weeks off, and then Wilmslow, and then finally, last game of the season, West Park.
Home or away?
Home, I think.
Whoa, so that's your two competitors have got to travel to MMU.
Yeah, it's tough. And only one goes up because crewing that much and not doing their job at the league above. So if they come down, we can't go up.
Good. But you know what you have to do now,
which
is exciting,
isn't it? Just so, Leicester Tigers.
Leicester Tigers, yeah. Tell me about Leicester Tigers.
Well, Leicester Tigers seems to be on the verge of appointing Paul Gastard.
Wow.
Now, you and I have met Paul Gastard. What do you tell me your views on Paul Gastard?
So my views going into that, obviously everyone knows him from Saracens and England. I had a lot of respect for him for both of those roles that he did in a more specialist coaching role. I think it's fair to say, predominantly defence, but I'm sure he also fulfilled other roles in both those setups. Certainly in the Saracen setup, I'm sure he bounced around into different roles. Then he moved to Harlequins, where he didn't come across the best as a head coach, both in terms of the results that team got, but also some of his stuff in the press and talking about...
There was obviously some friction there, wasn't there, between him and the Harlequins hierarchy?
Yeah, hierarchy maybe within the team, but there was things that he probably did that were cool and very well, like getting Apache attack helicopters.
If you're losing games, it's not cool, but if you are winning games, it's very cool.
Yeah, but also some of his language around, and I know you've been critical of other former Saracens defence coaches for this, for like emotional and speaking about the player as a person rather than the player as a player and that kind of stuff, which I
hate.
Again, it's the kind of thing that you can massively get away with it when you're winning games.
Yep.
I have no time for it when you're losing games.
No, absolutely not.
And to try and deflect. So I think we were a little bit sceptical.
This is when Alex Sanderson signed Manu Tuolangi primarily as a great person.
Yes.
But also just happens to be a world-class centre.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm a great person, and I'll happily take that money.
When we met him in Paris, when we had a few juicy Heinekens.
They were delicious.
They were some of the tastiest Heinekens I've ever had, actually. I could, and I said this at the time, you could completely see why 20-something men would run through brick walls.
It's terrifying, isn't he?
He's impressive physically.
Yep.
He's impressive from a charisma and a speaking perspective. He just came across so well in terms of what you want. Maybe
I've got this wrong, okay? And I felt this certainly with Rob Baxter. You don't feel it. You sort of, it's more than a feeling with Steve Diamond, Alex Sanderson, same. Like, there is the underlying menace of extreme violence, or the ability to commit extreme violence. By the way, he was not like that in any shape, way, or form. But, you don't need to be, do you? But he's just got a presence about him.
He does, and he came in, he was wearing like a turtleneck. He had a flat cap on when he arrived, but his turtleneck, you could still see, I mean, he's 6'4", 6'3", 6'4", huge. Big shoulders, big traps, still in great shape, like in great nick. Not like still lean, but strong as, with his sleeves rolled up and the tattoos on his arms. And he
terrifying,
just,
man.
Yeah.
And you're right. Like, you want to convince 20-year-olds to run through brick walls. You want a Sanderson. You want a. It might not inspire me so much, but they don't need to inspire me.
We're a bit older and a bit more cynical these days, but in my 20s, definitely, and the guys who would aspire to be someone like that, these young lads.
I do think, because the director of rugby job is very highly paid. I mean, Sanderson's got a great deal. In fact, they are just highly paid throughout the sport, maybe too highly paid in some situations. That a lot of these guys make up novel approaches to the game in order to confer guru status, to justify the money.
To give a point of difference.
Yeah, and actually they'd be better off just doing the basics.
Yeah, the nuts and bolts.
Over and over again, and saying it's a basic job. It's a basic job. But of course, when you say it's a basic job, you actually open the door to, well, everyone else.
Yeah.
So then you get this merry-go-round of people trying to out-stupid each other. With like, today we're going to have rhinos in. Why are we having rhinos? Oh, well, because they've got horns and they're dangerous and, they hunt, they roam in packs and, they take turns eating. Oh, why does that matter? It just does.
They hang around the watering hole.
Yeah. They like a team drink. So we've got the rhinos down. And it just gets in this ever spiraling stupidity race. Spinal stupidity, fine, go with that.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing. I do think the Bears and the attack helicopters were superfluous. Anyway, so he's going to be appointed potentially Leicester Tigers head coach. Do you think
Well, so that is interesting because I don't think he's a head coach at Stade Francais. He certainly wasn't brought in as a head coach.
He is.
He might have after what's his name? The guy who's gone to Italy, Quesada.
Yes, Gonzalo Quesada.
Quesada, yeah. Because he was head coach when Guzzi came in. So he was definitely brought in as a defence coach. He might now be doing that role or a very senior coaching role.
Yeah.
Stade Francais are...
Second bottom.
Bottom or second bottom?
Yeah.
Yep. Of the top 14. So as a defence coach, I like him. I've got a lot of time for him. As a head coach... I was going to say maybe not, but I hope he does get it. I hope he has another crack at it. I hope he's learned from his time in Italy, his time in France, the Harlequins time, and he has a good crack at it. Because the other thing I would say in his favour, and this doesn't mean he's going to be a great head coach, but to us, he was remarkably honest. And he told us some stuff about the teams he's played in, the players he's played with. Some of it was hilarious. Some of it was incredibly candid. And we there's loads of stuff that he told us that we have kept completely confidential and not
also
mentioned on the pod.
A Premiership mindset, which is an eye on value. Now, whether you identify that value correctly...
That was the big takeaway. Yeah. That was such a big takeaway. Every single time he referred to a player, almost without exception, he referred to either a specific monetary value or like a range of monetary values, so like to indicate that you could. And this is exactly how Premiership teams have to build their squad because of their salary cap. You could have the best player in the world. You could have Bowden Barrett or Oxenshea or Andre Pollard, or who is there. Like, name your absolute top international player. But if the money is not commensurate or it's disproportionate or it changes the dynamic of your squad, they are not worth it.
No, they're
categorically, in like an example you've certainly given in the past, and I generally agree with this, Semi Radradra.
Absolute waste of money.
If the rumours were true that he was on 800k plus and he wasn't a marquee player, or at least one of him, Stephen Luatua and Sir Charles, never mind Kyle Sinclair and Ellis Genge, who were all on 500k plus, but only for a period of time 2 of those could have been, and a period of time only 1 of those could have been marquee players. The other are just, like, you've got a point there where 4 players are eating up 40% of your playing budget.
Rodri Gummer-Davis, you might not remember him.
Go on.
Played for Dragons, played inside centre for Saints.
Oh, okay.
And he described himself as being on 25k in between Carlos Spencer and Bruce Ray Horner. He's like, why am I on 25k? And I've got to link these 2 guys. I just throw the ball up. Well, screw you guys.
Yeah. You better catch if you're on if you're on 10x what I am. You can catch my passes.
And also, you better give me the perfect pass. If you give me like a pass around my ankles and I'm saving your career, no, I'm knocking that on actually out of principle.
So it'll be interesting seeing him, who's someone who intrinsically gets and understands the value proposition, with Leicester, who also intrinsic because of their behind the scenes setup, they get that value piece and almost the Moneyball style player selection.
Do you know what the Gustard adventure tells me? It's very similar to the Lancaster adventure, which is coaches are not the be all or end all. They are part of a team of individuals.
Yeah.
Right. So I think Gustard has proven in various scenarios he's a brilliant coach for defence. You cannot argue with that Saracens team. Even the England stuff is pretty good when he first started with Eddie Jones. I mean, it was impressive. So much so that's why he got the Harlequins job, because he built great defences.
Yeah.
But then since then, it hasn't quite gone to plan. So Stade Francais were very impressive this year. They're absolute disaster. Sorry, last year they're absolute disaster. This year, they did a bit of Benetton. You wouldn't say that Harlequins has been successful.
Did he win the Rainbow Coach with Benetton? Rainbow Cup with Benetton.
Yeah, he might have just after after COVID.
Yeah,
like potentially.
I think that was about the right timing.
So, like, is he right to be the head guy in the same way is Stuart Lancaster? Not to say they're not valuable, but I think we've got to start looking at rugby coaches and the composition of your coaching team almost as seriously as you look at your actual playing team.
100%, definitely. And actually, you look at someone like Mark McCall, who has seemingly had 100 different coaches working in different roles underneath him, but the stability at the top that has allowed loads of different guys to come through. And he
obviously must have a system in place which allows people to succeed.
Yes.
And I don't know what that entails, because it also allows people who are mental to do things like, like Sanderson and Gustard to a certain degree, to do crazy things.
Yeah.
Which I think, I don't know why it works for Saracens. Maybe it's like Joe Google. You're allowed to spend 10% of your time working on something else.
Yeah.
And then they move on. They actually spend 80% of their time working on something else because it's more fun.
Definitely.
Something like that. Do you think, just on the Leicester Tigers role then, so obviously he used to be a Leicester Tigers player.
Yep.
It does feel a little bit like if Leicester Tigers were going to make this move, they should have made it 6 years ago, or whenever he was with Eddie Jones, when he was hot property. You'd understand that then. Leicester Tigers are still the biggest club in the UK. I don't care what anyone says. Maybe Leinster are bigger, actually. But but they're huge.
Leinster not in the UK, but
yeah, whatever.
but yeah, in the
Bigger than Ulster. They're bigger than Ulster.
They are bigger than Ulster.
Yeah. So Leicester still feel that they are worthy of the biggest coaches in the world. That's why they
got Chicker. Yeah,
that's why McKellar was meant to be the next Australia coach allegedly. They had the last. They've got the current England coach, or they had the current England coach.
Yeah.
I just don't know if this is a bit of a. I can't see this being the coaching appointment that's going to win the league. And I think that's what Leicester want. They want absolute top end.
And there is another problem to this equation as well, which is alongside Checker, who is. It's possible he could win the league. It seems unlikely, but it's not impossible. Alongside Checker leaving this year, Andre Pollard is confirmed to be going back to the Bulls.
The Bulls?
To the Bulls.
It's a bit of a disaster, So I think there's questions to be answered at Leicester, and I'm sure they'll have their own version of this, but you simply can't go through that many coaching teams, and you simply can't go through that many fly halves.
Yeah.
Like, if you're going to pay that money for that fly half, he needs to stay for 5 years. At least.
Yeah. Because obviously they brought Ford back, lost Ford to Sale. They brought in Andre as it's more than a like-for-like replacement. It's replacing one of the best fly halves in the world, in possibly the best fly half in the world, and certainly probably the best fly half in the world for like knockout rugby.
Yeah.
Close it in where they want to be competing in the finals of the Premiership and also in the knockout stage of Europe. He is just about the best man you could bring in.
I just don't know how they get themselves in this situation.
And it's not worked.
So a checker should never have been appointed. Just should never have been appointed. You can't have a coach for 1 year. The danger with him is if he doesn't want to do it, he just goes home. Because he doesn't need to be there. You're not paying his mortgage. He probably doesn't even have a mortgage.
Maybe they had an LTIP in place.
Yeah, maybe.
Although for 1 year, a long-term incentive plan, it can't be a 1 year long-term incentive plan. It has to be
I bet Bill Sweeney could get a 1 year incentive plan. Yeah.
Well, on the Patreon pod, we will talk about what Bill Sweeney has got that favours Bill Sweeney.
Oh, wonderful.
Because there is some new news in that report that I haven't seen reported anywhere, even since the report came out, that is interesting for Bill Sweeney getting what he wants. A little tease for the Patreon pod.
Yeah, so I think there's going to be pressure on the Leicester Tigers higher-ups because you can't go through... Dan McKellar was an abject failure. There's no other word for that. It's just failure. Obviously, Borthwick was a masterstroke. So
Borthwick was a masterstroke, and they got paid $1 million. He won the league, and they got paid $1 million for him leaving.
Yeah, but then whatever process led to Borthwick showing up there has not replicated, and I think the Pollard one is really damaging for them because you just can't let that kind of guy go. You just can't. So what do Leicester do now? And we've spoken about this in the past. Do they go for like some young guy who's not yet proven? Do they go for? I mean, who is there? Owen Barrett, Damien McKenzie.
Yeah, you're talking mega money and them giving up All Blacks.
Owen Farrell.
Owen Farrell is a distinct possibility.
There's no way Owen Farrell ever plays in the Premiership again, not in a Saracens shirt.
I don't know. It could. I wouldn't rule it out.
I wouldn't rule it out. I absolutely would. I just can't. Saracens have got this knack of bringing the guys back. They seem to absolutely adore it there.
They do.
How many Saracens have moved to different clubs?
What, and then come back? So Ben Spencer's one who got away.
But he might come back now.
Possibly. Now that Owen Farrell's not there.
Yeah, has left. Still very wary of that scenario.
Max Malins
signed back for Saracens next year.
Oh, he has, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Ben Earl came back. Who else went out?
Tell you didn't. TT Lamasatelli.
Yeah, that was a surprise when he came back to Quins, although having seen him play this season.
Maybe that was the Saracens' decision.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, he looked, when he signed, I thought it was a great signing. When I first saw him, I was like, oh my God, he is enormous. He's even bigger than he was. And there's a reason that his performances are consistent with someone who is even bigger than he was.
Yes.
Anyone else? Anyone who's got away?
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile with a message for everyone paying big wireless way too much. Please, for the love of everything good in this world, stop. With Mint, you can get premium wireless for just $15 a month. Of course, if you enjoy overpaying, no judgments, but that's weird. Okay, one judgment. Anyway, give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
It's true that some things change as we get older. But if you're a woman over 40 and you're dealing with insomnia, brain fog, moodiness, and weight gain, you don't have to accept it as just another part of aging. And with MIDI Health, you can get help and stop pushing through it alone. The experts at MIDI understand that all these symptoms can be connected to the hormonal changes that happen around menopause. And MIDI can help you feel more like yourself again. Many healthcare providers aren't trained to treat or even recognize menopause symptoms. MIDI clinicians are menopause experts. They're dedicated to providing safe, effective, FDA-approved solutions for dozens of hormonal symptoms, not just hot flashes. Most importantly, they're covered by insurance. 91% of MIDI patients get relief from symptoms within just 2 months. You deserve to feel great. Book your virtual visit today at joinmidi.com. That's joinmidi.com.
God, it's hard to think.
No, Tompkins came back.
Tompkins went out.
Yeah, when they tend to leave, they leave for good, or they come. Sorry, they leave for good to
retire, or to go to
retire, or
go to the like Vincent Koch. He
maybe
went to Wasps, but then Wasps went
for one game.
Yeah, Wasps went bump, and then he went to. He's at Sharks now, isn't he?
So
after maybe a little. Did he go to Stade Francais?
Yes,
briefly?
he did. Yes, he did.
Yeah, but yeah, that was. Saracens were cutting their cloth. Even bloody Liam Williams.
Yeah, there you go. I knew that there was one recently.
He can't stay away.
Yeah, so there's no way Mr. Saracen himself, man and boy Saracen, goes to Leicester Tigers. I just can't see it unless the money is astronomical.
Well, they will have 700,000, 800,000 pounds or whatever. Now, could he be marquee player? Because it is less important this year because all the clubs get an extra 1.4 something like that million pounds in the salary cap. But could he be a marquee player because he's not coming from a Premiership club, although he has played for a Premiership club in the last 3 years. So I can't actually remember. I have read it long time ago. I can't remember. So if you move from a Premiership club, you definitely can't be a marquee player for 3 years. But I don't know if it works if you take a sabbatical, say, as a player in a French team or as a commercial manager of a South African cattle farm.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm not quite sure how it works.
Have you seen the further players linked with Exeter?
Yes, it's on my list of things to talk about.
So, latest one is Len
Ikitau, who's a good, hard-hitting, hard-running, international centre.
Could be decent.
Could be lining up against the Lions.
And then goes to Exeter.
And then go to Exeter, yeah.
So they've got, who have they signed? Hooper? No.
Tom Hooper.
Tom Hooper,
back row.
Yep.
Australian back row, Hooper, not that one.
The other one.
So Len Ikitau, so Jake Gordon, the scrum half.
Yeah.
After reportedly, I think it was Fissler on Rugby Pass was reporting that they were close to signing Broughton
Jake
Park.
Gordon's a scrum half?
Jake Gordon, the scrum half, yeah.
Is there a Gordon that's a fly half? Have I made that up?
Maybe.
Who was the Gordon that played? Who was the fly half that played in the World Cup and then got dropped for the other guy? I'm sure that guy was called Gordon.
Which World Cup?
The one just gone.
Who have you got? I can't remember who was playing fly half for Australia this World Cup. Not Quade Cooper, not Bernard Foley, not Ben Donaldson.
Ben Donaldson played.
Who's the other one?
I'm sure his name is Gordon.
Maybe. Just trying to look.
And I'm sure he's going to see NRL as well.
Let's just see if I can find Australia game. Carter Gordon.
There we go. I knew it was a Gordon.
Yeah. Is he brother of Jake Gordon?
Must be.
So, notable relatives of Carter Gordon, Mason Gordon, who is a fly half or fullback, a 21-year-old fly half or fullback for the Reds. Carter Gordon played for the Rebels. Don't know where he is now. And Jake Gordon, Australian rugby player, is Waratahs now. But no, I don't think there's a relationship between those two. It's a different Gordon. So yeah, they've got Ikitau, Hooper, not that one, Jake Gordon, Julian Heaven, who's a Waratahs hooker, and
Joseph Dwebber.
Joseph Dwebber.
That's an easy. That's an interesting one because he's huge,
enormous, explosive, not particularly good arrows.
He's like the South African Camille Shat.
Not quite as big a neck, bigger everything else.
He's huge.
Yes.
Now they've wanted him to be good for years, and he never quite was.
Yeah.
So yeah, a small issue with Exeter signings is it's an admission that maybe what they've done of late hasn't worked out as well as they hoped, and therefore they're swinging the pendulum right back, which is now we're going to buy, if not seasoned internationals, sort of almost
like a bit closer than like trying to convert 18-year-old kids into European Cup winners in 2 years. In
fairness, have they done well on it? I mean, it's been interesting to see. I thought it was going to work. I'm not so sure. Maybe it would work with a few less of them.
Yeah, and a few more in this kind of category, in the kind of like mid-20s age profile. They've got 50 to 100 games of high-level rugby. They might have 10 to 20 games of international rugby.
Yeah.
That's the kind of...
That's a million miles away, isn't it? That's a million miles away from a guy studying biomedical science.
Yeah.
Or reading law. So, it's just... I was kind of hoping it was going to work. I thought X had reinvented the game again. Turns out that they might not have. But they made strides.
Yeah. And I think with some choice signings, Exeter could be interesting next season. Two that I do want, and I've been saying this for a while, is a good scrum half. Right, Exeter were at their best when Nick White was there, and
yes.
a good scrum half who can run things.
Yes,
and apparently they tried to get Rafi Quirk, which I'm not sure would have been the answer to the question.
Nope.
And Ben White, who would have been an interesting...
That's a really good signing, Ben White.
He's a great player, Ben White.
So, like, Rafi Quirk could work if you had basically Gus War. Right?
Yeah.
You've got a great start, a Premiership class starter, an international starter now, actually, in his own right, who's going to play every single game. And if you've got the luxury of Rafi, bring him on. That's where he works.
Yeah.
I don't think he can be a starter in many places because he's not durable enough from what I've seen. And also, he's such a unique talent that it's always best to have the unique talent to change a game rather than to start a game.
Yes. Yeah. No, I agree with that. I never thought he was quite right. Ben White would have been a lovely sign-in, but I think they also need a fly half. I think they really do, because this season they've had obviously some of their best games when Henry Slade has moved into fly half,
which costs you in other departments, doesn't it?
It does. You move in England starting, depending on whether he's wearing 12
Midfield.
or 13. Yeah, starting centre into 10, which leaves gaps elsewhere. They have got Ben Cohen, who started this weekend. So England under 20s fly half, Ben Cohen, Coen rather than Cohen, who is, I mean, he's under 20s, so very young, but he started I think they beat Sale, didn't they? He started I'm sure they beat Sale, I could be wrong on that, in the Premiership Rugby Cup. He started in a very strong, like the Exeter team was about as strong as they could put out, considering their internationals are away, and he started 10.
Interesting.
So that's an interesting development.
No doubt he'll start all next season, though.
Potentially, they might not need an international or high caliber 10 to be brought in. Did you see the other Exeter news this week?
No.
The he said, she said between Baxter and Borthwick.
Oh, two heavyweights.
Yes.
Slugging it out.
And two favoured coaches of the pod, certainly. We have a lot of time for both of them. But there has been a bit of he said, she said, specifically over the shoulder injury and management of said shoulder injury to Manny Faye-Waboso.
Oh, I have seen a bit of this.
So, Faye-Waboso got injured just around the Christmas period. And there was... So this has been back, forward. So it was a shoulder injury that was originally lined up for surgery.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was decided, and Exeter lined... My read of this is Exeter lined him up to have shoulder surgery. It was scheduled for 10 days after his initial injury. There was some issues with that, and Baxter has said that there were some issues with the timing of that surgery because the England medical staff weren't available during that period.
Really?
And then so the surgery got delayed, and then they decided that they could manage it without surgery and potentially get him back before the end of the season, or actually before the end of the Six Nations.
Wow.
So they were working on that basis that they could get him back before the end of the Six Nations, and in rehab on his way back, he has injured his shoulder again and will now require the surgery that could have been done 2 months ago.
I mean, you can't really... if you're working towards that and you have a setback, you can't really, in hindsight, say, well, you should... I don't think you should have surgery unless you really need it.
Yeah, because there are complications with surgery. I mean, a great example, Sean O'Brien had a shoulder surgery. The joint got infected, and it had massive complications. So there is risk to all sides. So Baxter basically accused England of not having medics available for 10 days over the Christmas period, which Borthwick has hit back and said, nonsense, that didn't happen. It's all documented.
Someone is clearly wrong here.
Someone's wrong. And Baxter is clearly frustrated because he's going to be out for even longer than he had anticipated for his star, who is being managed by England, and it's been outside of his control.
This is like the last thing they want with this new agreement. They want the first injury case to go as seamlessly as it possibly can. And it's amazing, actually, they don't use the same experts. I mean, I assume they do. Like, why is it that England have a medical staff? Why don't they just buy in experts?
Well, that's
Harley Street or something.
I mean, presumably these are the kind of, they're buying in experts.
Yeah, but why would they just work for England?
I don't even know if they do just work for England Rugby. Because it might be the fact that they're not full-time England Rugby, hence they were doing surgery at Harley Street or wherever. Because
all the sale players just go straight to Spire. Here's a question for you, and I don't know the answer to this. I've just thought of it now. If you break your leg, you go to hospital and they put a cast on you, and that's pretty much it, right? Mm-hmm. Almost every rugby player that breaks a leg waits for the swelling to go down, and next day has surgery. Have I got that wrong? Are they doing something different for professional sports players rather than just putting them in a boot?
It might be. So I don't know the answer. My thoughts would be they might want to make sure that the alignment is perfect.
Maybe.
So they might, in bad cases, be using a screw type system to lock it in place, or they might just be opening it up, make sure the alignment between the bones is perfect, and then stitch you back up again.
If you're a doctor and you know the answer to that, let us know.
I suspect it's a case because, like, compound fractures where someone's foot, you know, where the foot is pointing the wrong way.
No, compound fractures when the bone breaks the skin.
Yeah, but where those things are not mutually exclusive. Your foot can be pointing the wrong way, and it can break the skin. So yeah,
God, it makes me feel ill. I don't like things like that.
The horrendous fractures that will almost certainly be pinned because of the complexity of it.
I was playing for Old Winians in a friendly against Old Winians Avis, Old Winians B or something like that. And the guy stepped over the ruck and he had the lightest of contact, put his foot on the ground, it just twisted the wrong way. And I was like, that is the worst. I never wanted, at that point, I never wanted to play ever again.
Oh,
horrific.
It is. When you've seen it as well, it's like etched.
You can't see it.
Yeah, it's etched in your mind, burnt in. Horrendous.
Right.
So that's been an interesting backwards and forwards. You're exactly right. England, Exeter, because Baxter was one of the ones initially who was a bit critical of this, but had been given assurances that no, it would work in a way that was beneficial to everyone, and the first one seemingly hasn't been beneficial to everyone, which is disappointing. And it's disappointing that we, from what I've read, Faye Webosa's Lions. Not that he was guaranteed a spot, but
He might have been.
If he was
Good Six Nations,
good Six Nations, and a good end to the season, he would have been as high up as anyone, because he's probably the highest rated winger for England.
He's only one of the highest rated talents.
Yes, so it's a shame all round.
Yeah. Oh well. Anything else before we go on to Patreon?
Did you see the Melvin Jaminet case?
No, but I suspect my good friend Matt wrote this. Matt Hardy.
Is he
City AM?
City AM? Yes.
That's what I suspect happened.
So I did. He wrote an article. I did read that, and there was a L'Equipe, or one of the French papers who've written about this. So, this is a complicated story. Melvin Jaminet, who... can you remember the most recent news about Melvin Jaminet?
Can I remember? I just remember Melvin Jaminet coming into Toulouse because Toulouse were flush with cash because Toulon purchased Cheslin Colby for €1 million. And then they went and got Jaminet from, I'm going to say, Racing or somewhere?
He was Perpignan prior to that. Right, but yeah. He was already called up for France, playing for France as a fullback, wearing Perpignan shirt, which there's not that many players who get called up playing for Perpignan. So that was in 2022, where he signed for Toulouse, as part of the Cheslin Colby deal.
And I feel I've seen him recently in Toulon, because he didn't work out in Toulouse for whatever reason it is.
Yes, and that is part of the story, him not working out in Toulouse.
And this is basically, I'm unloading all my Melvin Jaminet knowledge onto you now.
There is one thing you're forgetting from last summer.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile with a message for everyone paying big wireless way too much. Please, for the love of everything good in this world, stop. With Mint, you can get premium wireless for just $15 a month. Of course, if you enjoy overpaying, no judgments, but that's weird. Okay, one judgment. Anyway, give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
It's true that some things change as we get older. But if you're a woman over 40 and you're dealing with insomnia, brain fog, moodiness, and weight gain, you don't have to accept it as just another part of aging. And with MIDI Health, you can get help and stop pushing through it alone. The experts at MIDI understand that all these symptoms can be connected to the hormonal changes that happen around menopause, and MIDI can help you feel more like yourself again. Many healthcare providers aren't trained to treat or even recognize menopause symptoms. MIDI clinicians are menopause experts. They're dedicated to providing safe, effective, FDA-approved solutions for dozens of hormonal symptoms, not just hot flashes. Most importantly, they're covered by insurance. 91% of MIDI patients get relief from symptoms within just 2 months. You deserve to feel great. Book your virtual visit today at joinmidi.com. That's joinmidi.com.
Was he involved in the Argentina tour or something?
He was in Argentina, and he posted a video on his social media.
Oh. Now, did he get in trouble in the same way that the Argentine footballers got in trouble?
I can't remember the football. There was, yes, I think there is some crossover there.
There is, isn't there? So, was it either racist or what was it?
So there were some, I think there were under 20s French players who were in Argentina relatively recently, and there were
2 of them got left behind.
2 of them got left behind, brushing with the law, accusations of
malfeasance.
Malfeasance. Let's just put it like that to a young lady. Jaminet was slightly different. He posted a video of himself walking through Argentina, singing a song about hitting an Arab with a helmet.
Yes, I remember. Yes, I remember.
Yeah, how could you forget? Melvin Jaminet for that. So he has just come back. So Perpignan to Toulouse, brief stint in Toulouse, and then he left unceremoniously for Toulon. He then played for Toulon for a year or so, playing with France, suspended for 34 weeks. He's just come back playing for Toulon last few weeks, or he's eligible to play for Toulon.
Oh, he's going to be suspended for that video?
Yeah, so he's been suspended for 34 weeks from last summer to now for that video. So his time in Toulon is being investigated. His time in Toulouse is being investigated. And there's quotes from the president of Toulon now, and the story, to summarise, and there's a much better article summarising this by Matt Hardy in City AM, that Melvin Jaminet, to buy himself out of his Toulouse contract, took out loans to the tune of £450,000.
Okay, I'm now very interested.
Which he then bought himself out of that contract, his Toulouse contract, personally bought himself out so that then he could move to Toulon. And there's something around this where Toulouse... Yeah, so L'Equipe reports, this is Matt Hardy's writing, L'Equipe reports that a plan was put in place for Toulouse to pay Jaminet back through a series of companies.
Oh, wow.
Because Toulouse were in danger of breaching their salary cap for the period of time where he was there. So they facilitated loans to him so he could buy himself out, so he could then move to Toulon and relieve Toulouse of their salary cap potential breach.
So the question then becomes, and I think I know the answer, why not just let him off? Why not just say...
Yeah, just rip up his contract.
Yeah. I guess it's either some crazy French union thing or salary cap rules around that.
Yeah, but then surely the salary cap... If Toulouse are going to pay £450,000 through a series of companies to him, surely that's like on the... you have in the Premiership salary cap, you have these like adjacent parties or there's related parties, connected parties, whatever the terminology is.
Right.
So he's had a turbulent couple of years. So he's allegedly significantly out of pocket from Toulouse. Toulouse are being investigated because of the salary cap breach, either one way or the other, if they pay him through a series of companies, or because he was on the books in the first place. The L'Equipe are reporting that the most serious consequences for Toulouse would be relegation from what I've read briefly on this, that seems highly unlikely that there will be relegation, but you never know, and we'll wait to see this play out because it's not being reported.
Good God,
really elsewhere from what I've seen. Matt Hardy's doing a good job bringing it to light.
Shame that Toulouse don't have any political clouts to go around this. I mean, they better hope that if they've got a salary cap breach, it is literally for overpaying a player. Because if they have a salary cap breach for the payment of a player through a series of companies...
That's much worse.
That's just so much worse, isn't it? It is so much worse.
Yes, precisely.
So, fingers crossed that they get through that one.
Yes.
No one mentions the big winner of all this. Well, say big winner, potentially would have been the big winner, is Toulon.
They got Colby and Jaminet.
Yeah, so I didn't realise that. I thought they just went back in for Jaminet because why not? They need two ex-Toulouse superstars. But Jaminet didn't particularly play well at Toulouse from what I remember.
Oh, sorry, I've got one bit wrong on this. It's not... there we go. Yeah, apologies. It's not Toulouse buying him out of his Toulouse contract. It's Toulouse buying him out of his Perpignan contract.
Got it.
So 450k. So he bought himself out of his Perpignan contract to the tune of 450k, which, yes, of course, that is why Toulouse will be paying through a series of companies to try and hide the fact that they
paid for it.
Yeah, they paid. They don't want it.
And he's paid £400,000 to get out of his contract.
€450,000.
Yeah, so this is one of those scenarios where you really want to pay back the person.
Yes.
Like, you really need to make sure that they are made whole for obvious reasons.
Yes.
Christ. And then he was let go from Toulouse to go to Toulon. So
Yeah.
Toulon basically funded their basically 2 players.
Yes.
They paid for, good work all round.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, any more rugby news that you've seen this week?
I think so.
Did you watch any games? Obviously, you were playing today, but
I didn't see any games. I didn't know any games were occurring because I was busy actually playing the great sport of rugby.
so there were Premiership Cup, and ex-Chiefs, a very strong ex-Chiefs side, hammered Sale. Ealing Trailfinders beat a handy Northampton Saints team.
Did they?
Yeah, and it genuinely is a handy Northampton Saints team. So Hendy, Ram, Litchfield, Seabrook, Hutchinson, James, Manny Yogan, Chunyamunga, Tom Lockett, Angus Scott Young.
Bloody hell, that is quite.
It's a legit. There's current England A players. There's multitude of internationals: Miller Mill, Langdon, Augustus, Odendal. It's a legit Northampton team. Went down 43-26 to Ealing.
Christ, they went down hard.
Yeah.
Without Ealing without Dan Lancaster.
Ealing without Dan Lancaster. Now, Northampton Saints did have Mapu, their young number 8, sent off just after half-time, but they were already trailing by 10 points when he got sent off.
The only thing I'd say, I've not seen the game, is that for Northampton getting drawn against Ealing, I mean, they just don't care very much, do they? Ealing, on the other hand, this is
their cup final.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really justify 50-something points. But they'll be using this when they're the same old tired. Give us promotion, let us come up. No.
And scorer of 2 tries for Ealing Trailfinders is a former Northampton Saints man. Do you know which former Northampton Saints winger is currently playing for Ealing?
That's a good question. George North. Trying to think.
He was a bit of a fantasy rugby draft sleeper for a period of time. He had some great scores in fantasy rugby draft.
It is, wait for it, Tom.
Yes.
Oh, it's not Elliot, is it? It's...
Not Elliot. You think of is it Jamie Elliott?
I'm thinking of Jamie Elliott. It's Tom.
Yes.
He's there for years. He's a good player.
Yep.
Can't remember.
Named after a gin-based cocktail. I think it's gin.
Tom Sling?
No. His name
Tom
is
Hugo.
His name is the name of the drink.
Tom Bramble. Tom Negroni.
Thomas Negroni, for that famous Northampton player. It is gin, Base Spirit gin. It's made on the rocks.
Tom Collins.
There Collins.
Got it.
Tom Collins scored 2 tries against his former club.
Oh, excellent. Yeah, really good player.
Yeah. My beloved Hurricanes went down to your beloved Blues.
How did my beloved Blues do?
So with a back 3 of Caleb Clark, Mark Talea and Bowden Barrett.
Good God.
They did all right. They won. They scored late to beat my beloved Hurricanes. Ulster beat Scarlets, thankfully.
Great.
Young Ulster team.
Amazing. Sensational stuff, actually.
Bordeaux are currently beating Perpignan, Jaminet's former employers. Toulouse, second string, smashed Van, and all sorts of other stuff happening.
Quick question. How did Drewer get on?
They lost again. They're 3-0. They scored a phenomenal try. So they lost away to the Waratahs by 5 points. So each of their games, they've only lost very narrowly, but they have lost.
Oh, dear.
One of their wingers, whose name escapes me now, 6'4", 105 kg winger, who looks fairly handy, scored a lovely try.
Racing got us absolutely battered. And Stade Francais beat La Rochelle.
Nice.
I have no idea what happened in these games, but they're interesting scores.
Stade Francais did beat La
La Rochelle, by the way, plummeting down the table.
They are not playing well.
They're not, are they?
No.
Oh well. Excellent. All right, shall we get on to the Patreon then?
Let's do a Patreon pod. I'm going to quite enjoy this.
The boys' end.
If your job at a healthcare facility includes disinfecting against viruses, you know prevention is the best medicine. And maintaining healthy spaces starts with a healthy cleaning routine. Grainger's world-class supply chain helps ensure you have the quality products you need when you need them. From disinfectants and cleaning supplies to personal protective equipment, so you can help deliver a clean bill of health. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Oh my God, it's the coolest thing ever. Hey guys, have you heard of Goldbelly? Well, check this out. It's this amazing site where they ship the most iconic, famous foods from restaurants across the country, anywhere nationwide. I've never found a more perfect gift than food. They ship Chicago deep dish pizza, New York bagels, Maine lobster rolls, and even Ina Garten's famous cakes. Seriously. So if you're looking for a gift for the food lover in your life, head to goldbelly.com and get 20% off your first order with promo code GIFT.
Brace the rudders! Raise the sails! Raise the sails!
Captain, an unidentified ship is approaching. Over.
Roger. Wait, is that an enterprise sales solution?
Reach sales professionals, not professional sailors. With LinkedIn ads, you can target the right people by industry, job title, and more. We'll even give you a $100 credit on your next campaign. Get started today at linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply.